Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm the OPJellicent and we're team building here for week number 3 in the IBL D-League up against Sawk and his Minnesota Twineedles. He's had a rougher start to the season. He is currently coming into this game 0-2. We are 2-0, so we are still undefeated and I really want to keep that up right here. So let's go ahead and get right into Sawk's roster. He has a Manaphy right here, which Manaphy has an interesting matchup. It can offensively pressure things like Landorus T and Mega Lopunny after a Tail Glow, but it really struggles breaking through Assault Vest Goodra. My Shaman, that could be an Assault Vest user too, as well as my Empoleon, so kind of a mixed matchup with that thing. I could also see something like an Assault Vest physical set coming with like Liquidation or Waterfall and then U-Turn to be able to go ahead and help take on my Weavile. Fizzdef Tailglow is really the thing that I'm expecting though to help out against Weavile and my Landorus T right here, so we'll see about that. Blacephalon right here is kind of in a similar scenario. It does well against my offense, but it's really walled by Empoleon and Goodra, the combination of those two, so I'm not really sure whether he's going to bring it or not. Choice Scarf could be very offensively threatening against my Weavile, my Landorus T, and my Lopunny. Now I could bring Choice Scarf Weavile right here with Pursuit, so Colbur Berry is definitely another option for that, but I really think Choice Scarf is the best set against me. He has a Gliscor right here, which is basically just a bulky pivot into Pokemon like my Landorus T. A lot of my Pokemon get ice coverage though, like Mega Lopunny, Weavile, Thunderous normally runs Hidden Power Ice, so I'm not really sure what he's going to do about that. But it could offensively pressure Pokemon like my Empoleon with Earthquake. He does have to watch out for the Shuka Berry, obviously, so all things that he has to keep in mind right there. Not too worried about Gliscor in all honesty. I think my team naturally deals with it. Klefki right here is just such an annoying Pokemon. Being able to go ahead and layer up Prankster Spikes and T-Wave is just quite frustrating right here, but thankfully I do have a natural Cure user, and I do have a Defog user that is actually immune to the Thunder Wave in my Thunderous Eye, as well as my Landorus T too. Landorus T could be a Defogger that's immune to Thunder Waves, so not even sure if keys are going to come, but if they do, I think just Spike stacks with maybe a couple attacks like Player Off or Dazzling Gleam make a lot of sense. It's one of his better responses to the Weavile, so I could see it coming if he's really that weak to Weavile, which his roster as a whole does struggle with. We will see though. Espeon right here, another special attacker, sort of in the same boat as Blacephalon and Manaphy, walled by Empoleon and Goodra, but it does a lot really well against my offense with the Choice Scarf set. And being able to go ahead and check Weavile with the Dazzling Gleam, and my Mega Lopunny with Psychic is very good. Once again, it can get Pursuit trapped by my Weavile, so that is something it does have to keep in mind. Colbur is another possibility right there on that thing, so basically just like a Blacephalon 2.0 if he wants to bring two special attackers. Not quite sure what he's going to opt to do right here. Now, he's been joking about bringing Z Beware. I don't know what Z Beware would bring. Like, I guess it would be Icy MZ for maybe Landorus T. I could also see Normalium Z being able to go ahead and blow through my Reuniclus after a Swords Dance, because Fizzdef Reuniclus could be one of my better responses to the Beware right there. So I could really see Z Beware doing a lot of work, maybe nabbing a Surprise kill, but it gets blown away by so much on my team. Mega Lopunny's high jump kick does like 80%, so after a bit of chip damage I can go ahead and knock that out. Obviously, Reuniclus's attacks just blow it away. Thunderous right here with Hidden Power Flying, or potentially a Z-Fly could be very threatening against it too. And then obviously the Fluffy would help it take on any of my other physical attackers. So it is a good matchup for sure. I think it's very usable right here, but I don't think it's his best Pokemon against me by any means. Serena right here is one of his better pivots into Thunderous. Obviously, I could once again run Hidden Power Flying or Sludge Wave, so not quite sure whether he's actually going to go ahead and bring that. Maybe he could bring like an Oka Berry set. Not Oka Berry, what's the Poison Berry? I think it's Kebia. And then I think the Flying Resist Berry is... I forget what the Flying Resist Berry is, but he could really bring either of those right here. It's also able to go ahead and offensively pressure my Empoleon with High Jump Kick. Banded High Jump Kick does Oko me if I'm not Chople, and Power Up 2 it KOs me anyway. It's kind of walled by Goodra though. Obviously High Jump Kick does have a possibility, but we saw Fizzdef Goodra wall at Tapu Bulu last week, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did not bring that just because Fizzdef Goodra could go ahead and wall that too. I'm not bringing Fizzdef Goodra spoilers. I have to bring AV with Spidef investment just to help take on all those special attackers, so that's my Goodra spread. But yeah, Serena right here can go ahead and pressure that. It is offensively pressured out by Pokemon like Weavile too. I'm not Z Lando, so he doesn't really have to fear like a Fly Z or anything, but I have brought special Landos with Sludge Wave as well, so kind of a mixed situation with Serena right there. Really could bring it, really could not. Who knows? Mega Beedrill right here is kind of walled by my Empoleon. If I do run Shuka Berry, the Landorus T really doesn't deal with that well at all. But other than those two Pokemon, it kind of pressures a lot of things. It does get 2-hit cured by Mega Lopunny's Fake Out plus Quick Attack, so that could be a very cool check to that. And due to his speed tiers, I can actually run Adamant Mega Lopunny right here, as you guys will see when I go over my roster. So I'm thinking he may just speed creep Jolly Mega Lopunny and then just run something like U-Turn and then Poison Jab, perhaps Fell Stinger too if he's really not expecting a Scarfer on my part, but there's no way I'm losing to Mega Beedrill in this match between all the priority I have on my team and a good pivot with Landorus T right here, so I'm not all too worried about it. If I didn't have Landorus T, I would definitely be worried because my team would definitely struggle against that, but thankfully Landorus T is right here, and we can go ahead and use that to help against that. We have Xurkitree right here, which is a pretty good breaker against my team. Could see Z Hypnosis coming. It is a secondary Z move user alongside the Beware, so Z Hypnosis definitely has a lot of potential. Now, I'm actually hoping he tries to bring it in on my Thundurus because he can obviously go ahead and take any attack I might want to click, but due to Prankster Substitute being a thing, I could potentially just go ahead and sub up, and then he cannot actually go with the Hypnosis in that scenario right there, so that could be very good. And then finally, rounding out his roster right here, he has a couple normal type Pokemon in Kamala and Snorlax. Kamala I'm not really too worried about. It could be some sort of like a last resort set with, I guess, Sleep Talk. I think that's a thing. And then obviously Snorlax right here could be some sort of curse set, but I have a really strong fighting type attacker with my Mega Lopunny. Weavile can go ahead and run Low Kick if it really wants to, and yeah, really those two Pokemon are not going to be doing too much. I think they may come though, just because they're only Ghost Resist, so Miss Magius could be a pretty big threat against them, like a Choice Scarf or Choice Best Mix Mag. So I'm really expecting Snorlax to be the one that comes, but he could bring Kamala. Not really sure what it does, but I'll go ahead and double check. I think it gets Earthquake, so that could potentially pop the Sugar Berry on my Empoleon, but enough about his roster, let's go ahead and talk about my 6 Pokemon. Okay, first Pokemon I got right here is Dimensions are Mega Lopunny, which is running a double priority set right here with an Adamant Nature. Like I said when going over his roster, I can run an Adamant Nature right here due to his speed tiers. He has a big gap between Mega Beedrill and Espeon, so I have Max Attack Adamant, and then the 188 investment right here allows me to outspeed any variant of Espeon that is not Choice Scarf, which is very good. I'm foregoing Ice Punch as you guys can see right here, but Adamant in return still does a lot of damage to the Gliscor, and the double priority allows me to go ahead and OHKO the Mega Beedrill. It allows me to go ahead and revenge kill Blacephalon. In case it's some sort of substitute set, I do have the priority Fake Out too, which could be very good, but Fake Out plus Quick Attack does OHKO Blacephalon with the Adamant Nature before any sort of prior damage, so in case it's Sash or anything like that, I really do not have to care. I just flinch it and then Quick Attack it down. High Jump Kick does not OHKO the Beware, unfortunately. It only does like 80% max, so that's something I do have to keep in mind due to its ability, of course. But Mega Beedrill right here just is such a good breaker against their team. It allows me to go ahead and check both their double normals at the end of the roster, being Kamala and Snorlax. The double priority helps me out against some sort of setup Xurkitree in case I do need a better way to revenge kill that. And overall, Mega Lopunny just looks very good right here. Really hoping the lack of Ice Punch right here does not have any regrets, but let's go ahead and move on to my second Pokemon. Alright, second Pokemon I have right here is a GoFed T-Sub, our Mega Lopunny right here, which is just running a very Spadef set designed to basically help me out against Pokemon like Manaphy. It can take on Blacephalon too, although it's not going to be my primary check to that Pokemon. And we have Stealth Rocks, Ice Beam, Roar, and Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet is great to revenge kill Blacephalon in case that thing does start to get out of hand. I would love the priority for that. Obviously, this would only be if my Mega Lopunny ends up going down, because Fake Out plus Quick Attack would be able to knock that out too, but this is always a good option. We have the Sugar Berry mainly here for the Gliscor's Earthquake, but it can also help us out against a potential Drill Run from the Beedrill, which could be very cool too right here. And basically the combination of Ice Beam, we hit up the Earthquake, we go for Ice Beam on the Gliscor, and then in combination with Aqua Jet, even with Toxic Orb Recovery, should be able to knock it out right here. And we just have a minus speed nature because we really don't want to weaken our Aqua Jet or our special attacks right here, and we don't really need the speed for anything. This is my primary response to Pokemon like Klefki and Espeon too. I really do not want anything else getting paralyzed, and I really think that while we aren't running Defog on this, I can go ahead and wear down the Klefki with the combination of... But first of all, I can get up my rocks, and then I can go ahead and roar him around. Is the main concept right there. Espeon, I thought it got Thunderbolt, but it apparently doesn't, so I was very happy when I saw that. It allows me to go ahead and take 2 of anything that wants to do as well. So really, it's just here to help out against the Manaphy, the Espeon, and the Klefkis, as well as potentially the Blacephalon, although it's not my primary check, as I said. But let's go ahead and move on to my third Pokemon. Okay, third Pokemon I got right here is actually a physical Thundurus, which I'm very much looking forward to using Muncini right here this week. We have a Flynium Z set with Sub, Bulk Up, Fly, and Wild Charge. I love that Prankster allows us to go ahead and bulk up before any faster Pokemon, mainly the Mega Beedrill right here, so I can go ahead and bulk up, take like 50% from a Poison Jab, as if they U-turn out, that would be even better for me, because I can go ahead and Prankster sub the next turn, depending on what they bring out. But the Flynium Z basically gives me a great check to Pokemon like Blacephalon. It's able to go ahead and OHKO that. +1 Fly Z does have a chance to OHKO any sort of non-Fizdef Gliscor, which is very good too. And after 2 bulk ups, I guaranteed OHKO that. And Gliscor doesn't really do much back to me anyway, so The sub bulk up set right here should be able to put in quite a lot of work. We have Wild Charge mainly to hit Pokemon like Manaphy, as well as potentially the Xurkitree. That's another thing. The Xurkitree could potentially try to set up on this with like Z-Hypnosis, but if I sub on the turn it goes for Z-Hypnosis, I don't get put to sleep, and then the combination of Flynium Z plus Wild Charge, if they do let me attack with that, does actually put it in range of my Mega Lopunny's Fake Out plus Quick Attack. So that's a scenario I definitely saw could work out, because I really think that that thing could really try to set up on this thing. It's probably the best setup fodder on my roster right here, so I wanted a solid check to that, and this thing can definitely go ahead and do that. But this is also a primary win condition for the team. We have max speed, as basically as high as possible, just for the Espeon, of course, because Espeon does hit 110 and we want to be able to outpace that. So ideally this Thundurus set can go ahead and put in a lot of work, but let's go ahead and move on to my fourth Pokemon. Okay, getting into the second half of the team right here, we have Gracidia, our Choice Scarf Shaman right here, which is earning 3 attacks plus Healing Wish. Healing Wish support really helps out of my secondary win conditions on the team, such as my Thundurus and my Mega Lopunny. Those can definitely win the game, but this Choice Scarf Shaman right here could be one of my better ways of winning the game too. Just being able to go ahead and hit his team pretty hard with Seed Flare. This also provides me with a second check to the Xurkitree after the Z-Hypnosis. In case it does end up getting that off and ends up being too threatening, I can go ahead and Scarf Earth Power that for like 80%. So worst case I'll have to psych a couple Pokemon, but it'll put it in range of all the priority I have on my team with my Mega Lopunny and potentially my Aqua Jet from the Empoleon, of course, too, but Psychic right here is mainly for the Mega Beedrill. It's able to go ahead and knock that thing out after Stealth Rocks, which my Empoleon can obviously go ahead and set on quite a bit of the roster right here. And yeah, like I said, the Seed Flare is just a really good win condition. Being able to go ahead and check the Manaphy. It's not Z-Rain Dance Manaphy, but I still figured I would go ahead and run Scarf Seed Flare right here just to be able to go ahead and hit that. One thing that I do have to be worried about when using this thing is Choice Scarf Blacephalon. It does outspeed me as a Scarfer, but I do have really good Blacephalon responses on this team right here. Mainly the next Pokemon on my roster, but Empoleon can go ahead and help out in that regard too. Hopefully the Gracidia can go ahead and put in a lot of work this week. Another scenario that I forgot to mention too is being able to go ahead and take the Natural Cure with this, the Hypnosis, and then switch out, come back in, and then I can go ahead and hit him anyway, because the Sleep will obviously wear off after the Natural Cure activates. So that could be very nice too regarding the Xurkitree, but let's go ahead and move on to the last two Pokemon right here. Okay, second to last Pokemon I have right here is Shellnark, or Assault Vest Goodra. I had to bring the set to this game. It just does so well. Manaphy after a Tail Glow does not even 2-hit KO us with Ice Beam, which is very good right here, and Power Whip does significant damage to that. You could say that earning max HP, max BDF is kind of overkill, but I really need the bulk to take on the combination of their Pokemon. One scenario that could be very scary is Explosion Blacephalon, being able to go ahead and pave the path for something like the Xurkitree or the Manaphy to put in a lot of work, but Shaman is able to go ahead and check the Manaphy and the Xurkitree, and basically the Blacephalon is only one of the 3 Pokemon that can actually break through this Goodra right here. Manaphy and Xurkitree have basically nothing to actually break Goodra, so if they explode with Blacephalon, that's one of the bigger threats gone, and while I will lose my Shellnark right here, I can go ahead and use the combination of Empoleon, all my priority in the back, and Shaman to go ahead and check those other 2 Pokemon quite nicely right here. So in the worst case scenario where they do explode, that's the scenario that I'm looking at right here. Earthquake is mainly here to hit Pokemon like the Keys, as well as potentially the Blacephalon too. While obviously Draco could do a lot, I do not want to run that due to special attack drops. Ice Beam is here mainly to hit the Gliscor. It is a mixed set right here. I did want Ice Beam and I just ran minus speed. And then Flamethrower hits the Keys as well, in case it does happen to be a Magnet Rise set, as well as the Serena. I'm not switching this into Serena, even though I do have Sap Sipper, just because obviously I do need the health for the other 3 Pokemon, but it is always an option if I find out that they're banded, and I do want to bring this in and try to throw off an attack. It could be a thing right here, but yeah, I mainly meant to respond to Manaphy, Blacephalon, and the Xurkitree right here. Hard stops all of those. Struggles against Mega Beedrill, U-turn could be quite scary in terms of getting the momentum, but my last Pokemon right here takes on Mega Beedrill quite nicely, so let's go ahead and get right into that. So rounding out the team right here, we have basically a max defense Landorus T with nearly max HP right here. It is named after my good pal, the Pokemaster Mike. It is mainly meant to respond to the Beware, the Serena, and the Mega Beedrill right here. Those were the 3 Pokemon on the roster that I saw that I was quite weak to, just because Banded Serena could go ahead and hit everything on my roster. Mega Beedrill just U-turned around freely with basically no punishment, so I wanted to go ahead and wear that down with the Rocky Helmet. I have rocks on my Empoleon, so I opted to go ahead and make this the Defogger, in case like rocks plus spikes ends up getting too out of hand. That could definitely be a scenario, but this is also another Defogger that's immune to Thunder Wave, so I can go ahead and switch this into Klefki, which could be very cool. And while Magnet Rise is a possibility, it's mainly here to just go ahead and defog on that thing and go for Earthquakes and whatnot, as well as maybe U-turn out and get me momentum into Pokemon like my Shaman or my Thundurus against that. That could definitely be very helpful right here too. Knockoff is mainly here for the Gliscor. If he does want to make an offensive switch into Gliscor to get his Toxic Orb activated, on the turn he's expecting a defog, I can go ahead and knock that off, get rid of that Toxic Orb, and just makes Gliscor a lot less viable for the duration of the game right here. But it's mainly meant to respond to all those physical attackers, such as the Beedrill, Serena, and the Beware, as I said. It can also go ahead and knock off Snorlax's Berry, in case that the Recycle sets ends up getting too out of hand right here. We can go ahead and prevent that Recycle cycle from being a thing right here, so that could definitely be very good too. And yeah, that's going to be the team for this week. The match will be going live a day from when this video goes live, so tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you all are looking forward to it. Be sure to go ahead and check out Sawk, and I'll see you all then. Later.